It's hard to believe that I've spent the past 16 years without a TV in our living room. After installing this 85-inch TV, I can't see us ever not having a large TV in my living room again. Today we're looking at the 85-inch U7H Quantum ULED TV from Hisense. In a previous video, I showed how we mounted and installed the U7H using the Kanto mount. Now I'll have a link to the mount I used as well as a link to that video down in the description below. Before we get into the review, I do not claim to be a videophile, nor am I a professional TV reviewer. I think I represent the average consumer, and I want to share my experience with the Hisense U7H over the past few months. When Hisense reached out to me to see if I would be interested in reviewing one of their TVs, I told them my goals for our living room was to find a TV that would provide an immersive image from 11-foot viewing distance, be bright enough for a room with a lot of ambient light, and a user interface that's easy to use with a price point that won't break the bank. I can happily say that the 85-inch U7H checks all those boxes and more. Now, my first experience with Hisense TVs was at CEDIA 2022. I'll leave a link to that interview with Hisense at the end of this video. I was blown away at the image quality of their TVs at CEDIA and was equally impressed with the massive value proposition that they provide. Now, many people rave over OLED TVs for their inky black levels, but let's face it guys, a large OLED TV is well above most consumers' budgets. This 83-inch Sony A90J OLED will set you back just under $5,000. In comparison, at the time of this video, the 85-inch Hisense U7H is only $1,799, and their smaller 75-inch U7H comes in at just over $1,000. I'll leave links to both TVs down in the description below if you want to check those out. One question I see a lot of people asking when purchasing a TV or even a projector system is how big of an image should I get? Now, in my experience, it really depends on the size of your room and how far away that you'll be sitting from the TV. I find that most online calculators though, they recommend an image entirely too small. To provide scale and perspective of my setup, my living room is 15 feet by 23 feet with a 12-foot ceiling. My couch is 11 feet from the 85-inch U7H, and in no way do I feel that it's too large for my space. With that said, in my theater room, I do sit 9 foot from a 150-inch diagonal projection screen, so there really isn't an affordable TV that would be too large for my living room setup. I've been using the U7H daily for the past few months and have never felt any eye strain or eye fatigue whatsoever. And with a wall this large, the 85-inch U7H blends into the room quite nicely and certainly does not feel intrusive or even out of place. Now, that being said, if you have a smaller room or if you'll be sitting much closer to the TV than I am, you may want to consider a smaller screen size. Now, to this day, I've yet to meet anyone that chose to go with a larger image and then later wished they had gone with a smaller one. Now, what I have heard a lot are those that purchased a smaller TV only to wish they had gone with a larger display. My motto has always been, go big or go home. Now, because the TV is so large, Hisense conveniently added 2 handles on the rear of the TV that make it super easy to carry and install the TV to your TV mount. Now, speaking of the rear, you'll find 4 HDMI ports, 2 of which are HDMI 2.1. Now, this is great for those of you that have a PS5 or maybe an Xbox Series X, so you can take advantage of those video resolutions up to 4K 120. One of the HDMI inputs has eARC to provide high-resolution audio from the TV to your AVR or even a soundbar. You'll also find a digital audio output, 2 USB ports, a LAN connection, RF, and composite inputs. So now let's talk about image quality. First off, This TV is bright. Now my room has a ton of ambient light with a massive 3-unit sliding glass door to the left and a significant amount of light that comes in from our decorative front glass door, which is to the right side of the room. Now out of the box, the colors are vibrant and really pop off the screen. Although it certainly does not have those inky OLED black levels, the brightness and contrast allow the blacks to appear much darker than they actually really are. During certain scenes, I've noticed that at times the whites can be a bit washed out, but the overall picture quality is exceptionally good, especially for a non-video file like myself. Now, I'm not sure how other TVs compare, but I do notice a lot of reflections from the U7H. As you can see here, if I have my ceiling fan lights on, I can see a reflection from them from my viewing position. When watching really dark scenes with bright lights, like a star field or maybe a dark background with white text, I did notice some blooming. Now blooming is when white objects or light objects on a dark background produce like this glow around the white or light object. Now it's not very noticeable during the daytime, but at night when the room is really dark and I only have the TV on, the blooming is much more noticeable. The U7H was very simple to set up and it utilizes the Android UI. You have access to all of your favorite apps like Hulu, Netflix, Disney+, Plex, and even Spotify, which is really cool, plus a host of other streaming services that you can download from the apps section. The UI is easy to navigate and is very responsive. Now one feature I use quite often is the Google Assistant. Pressing the Google Assistant button on the remote, I can say something like watch Survivor on Hulu and it'll take me directly to that series. You can also ask it to launch a specific app or maybe ask it to play a certain song or your favorite genre of music on Spotify. Now the TV speakers, well, they're not really that impressive. They're what you would expect from most TVs since the speakers are in the rear of the unit and have to reflect that sound back towards your listening position. Now fortunately, the U7H has HDMI eARC to send that high resolution audio like Dolby Atmos from the TV to an AVR or to a soundbar for better quality sound. In my setup, I connected the U7H to my SVS Prime Soundbase Pro, which is a 2-channel streaming device and amplifier. I then connected the Soundbase Pro to my Klipsch RF7 version 3 speakers. Now needless to say, this provides a much better audio experience than what any TV speakers can provide. And for those of you that want to calibrate the TV, the U7H offers an assortment of both basic video adjustments as well as a menu for some advanced calibration. I mentioned at the beginning of this video that I'm not a videophile. I don't have a Blu-ray player in the living room to use my Disney Wow disc or my Spears & Munsell calibration disc. So what I did is I jumped onto YouTube and found several test patterns to help me adjust just some basic settings for the U7H, and I found I only needed to make a small adjustment to the contrast to dial it in. Honestly, our family has used this TV way more than we thought that we would. It's provided us with some amazing family time. My daughter Rachel's got us hooked on Survivor, and we've been binge watching through each one of those series since we installed it. Hisense seems to be really focusing on providing quality displays that provide huge value to consumers like you and me. So if you're shopping for a large screen TV and you want that immersive viewing experience, the 85-inch U7H isn't without flaws, but I believe the pros definitely far outweigh the cons. And if 85 inches isn't large enough, I'll definitely recommend the Hisense L9G Ultra Short Throw Projector. To date, the L9G is by far the best performing UST projector that I've reviewed here on this channel, which you can check out in this video right here. And as always, you guys have a blessed week, and I'll catch you in the next video.